Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to have another look at the world's greatest game, slightly delayed from what I had planned, but that doesn't mean any more progress has been made because I was just away. So let's look at where we are on the current greatest game of all time. So one difference is the map. It looks pretty much the same, but the tile set's been shifted up, and this is actually a different map to the one we were on before. It's a worse one because I had to remake it when I changed the tile set. Some of the graphical errors that we saw on the corners of things have been sorted out, like on the edges of those. Some of the hill edges had little graphical errors, but basically that has been sorted out. So that's very nice. And we've still got our army of glorious shapes, and I can't even remember where we got to last time, how much I've actually changed since. I think one thing that's definitely changed, yes, I started with this. Adding in a thing that tells you why the morale is different from the base morale levels. A little thing that pops up, a tooltip, when you hover over the morale icons. Oh, and I've added a general. I think that might have been new to this one, adding in a general's unit who has an aura. So you can see this general is happy that the general is nearby. I guess that makes sense. Let's do it for like this unit of Crusaders. Here we see we get other bonuses. So you've got rear flank secure because the general is standing behind him. Right flank secure and left flank secure because there are Crusaders on either side. And you can see these Crusaders have one less morale than the Crusader there because their rear flank isn't secure, so they're not getting that bonus. And all of these guys are getting general nearby bonus. And if I press space, even without anything selected, basically holding down space shows the auras on units. So only the general has an aura right now. And you see it's just this blue area, same as in Total War. They use a blue area to represent the general's inspirational area. So all of these units here are in it. So we should see this one here doesn't have +1 due to the general being there. It's got still high morale though, because it's actually having its rear flank secured by Devin himself. So that is that. So we basically added in a morale system where the morale can go up and down, which it didn't have previously, and the unit can rout and shatter when the morale gets low. In order to demonstrate that, we need to introduce the red shape army, the arch nemesis of the blue shape army, formed up here to fight once again. The blue army is actually on a hill, but I haven't added anything into the combat mechanics that takes hills into account, so that doesn't matter. It's as if this map was completely flat, only the impassable terrain matters in this case. So, as I just mentioned, I've got a combat system. The greatest combat system of all time. We'll start by showing the ranged combat. Now this is going to go really fast because the balancing is extreme, because I gave all these units random stats. The Arbalest, which has 8 range, which I can show by hovering over it and pressing space, can hit the enemy from the very first turn, and it has extremely high attack value of, what is it, 20? Yeah, that's it, missile attack is 20, which, with how the mechanics works, basically means it will destroy a whole unit in one hit, and there's Arbalests on the enemy side as well. So if I end the turn, what we'll see is basically shizzle flying everywhere and units getting obliterated on both sides. But that's useful because it allows us to have a very quick look at how routing works. Hopefully a few units will survive the barrage and will rout instead. So let's do a turn. You can see the projectiles have, we barely saw it there, happened so fast. Basically the projectiles have little placeholder icons to represent them, so the Arbalests are firing sort of little catapult things. And you saw, if you look very closely, let's zoom in on a unit that's getting hit, that it actually has a damage indicator comes up. Those units were destroyed. But yeah, it took 142 damage to the Arbalest shot, whatever was there, those T-42s. Is it T-42? 44, what number it is. Anyway, basically, this unit is routing, and when it routs, well, there must be 2 units routing. This unit, that unit's shattered. Okay, so let's demonstrate how this works. This is pretty convenient. So a routing unit right now, I've just programmed it to go and find the general and stand next to him. So the idea is that if your unit's coming back from routing, or if it's routing, it'll go back into the general's aura first and see if that gets it to come back from routing. Once it sets up here, gets its flanks secures and is sitting in the general's aura. I haven't actually programmed it so that anything happens after that, so what's meant to happen is if it still doesn't come back, then it needs to rout off the field. We haven't done that, but I have got routing off the field being the behaviour of a shattered unit, which is this T-34. So if it doesn't get immediately destroyed by another missile volley when I hit end turn, we should see these units moving backwards. Oh, it actually was. Oh, something else has shattered. That'll solve us. This shitty Slingers unit, which has so little morale, we can't even look at its morale debuff, so there's a potential problem. There we go, this one's going to escape from the battle. So while those units there finish each other off, we've killed some enemy units there as well. Yes, while they finish each other off, we'll see these units making their way towards the edge of the map. We've got a load of shattered units. So it works like a normal movement order right now, so it's just saying we're going to move onto the edge of the map. And what you'll see is when it gets to the edge, it disappears. So basically any unit standing on the edge of the map once it reaches this line of tiles, if its morale is low, it will be taken away, or if it's in an explicit withdrawing mode, you've given it the command to withdraw, it will leave as well, but that's not in the game yet. So let's watch these 2 units go off as well. Bang, there we go. They left the battlefield. So that, what we saw just there is technically gameplay. Something happened, like we've got the ability to lose things and the ability to destroy the enemy's forces. So what we have now, ladies and gentlemen, is technically a game. Ready to release? I think it's ready to release. So that was ranged combat. It was pretty ridiculous. I want to try and show some normal combat. We need to sort of get these Arbalists out of the way. They've only got 10 shots. So what we'll do is we'll deploy all of this as a sacrifice. Let's move these units up to just walk through the enemy's arc of fire and just get hit by things. So you can see all the damage things popping off there. Hello. Oh, the enemy slingers are starting to fire. They have a different icon. It's basically a barrage of arrows coming out of the slingers. There we go. Something I believe I have not done yet is actually make it so that when a unit that is routing away from something that's firing and it goes out of its range, that the unit that's firing will say, that's not in my range anymore, and stop. Or did I do that? Let's find out, because I think this unit is probably routing from being attacked by this Arbalest. Let's see if it kills it in the end turn sequence. Oh no, it's firing at that. Well, that's ruined my plan, hasn't it? What is this guy even doing? This guy's obviously glitched out because he's got no morale. He's decided to route to there, which isn't a very useful position. Oh, and then he got blown up. Might have actually been in range, so I don't know if that confirms the theory. It's been so long since I actually worked on this. For like 2 weeks at least, so I don't know what's going on anymore. We're just looking at it. I think we've got to a stable point now, right? No one's shooting at anyone. I don't think I used up all of the enemy's ammo. There's 1 left on the Arbalest. Tons of slinger ammo left. What we will do is now test melee combat. I was going to say ranged combat, melee combat, which, as I recall, is actually much glitchier than ranged combat. I did ranged combat first because it sort of happens first when you run the program. So melee combat, I'm pretty sure this doesn't really work. But we're going to see what we can do here just to demonstrate where it's at right now. So what I need to do is first, I need to basically just run into the enemy. So it engages in melee combat when 2 units of opposite sides collide with each other. So when the shapes actually touch, it will start a melee combat. So I don't know why I'm ordering to run to there. We need to order them to run to there. So we're going to try and start melee combats with these units. They may simply destroy our advancing units on the way. We'll bring up these Crusaders and put them in a double line there as a reserve. And let's have these guys come up as well, just in case we need to demonstrate something. You guys are going to be like that. You're going to sit there, ready to get involved. Oh my god, look at this chaos of lines and numbers. When I unselect it, it's a bit more easy to see. When I press space to see the lines. So many lines at this stage, that's not really good. Oh, by the way, I was thinking of adding in the diagonal movement DLC, because you get cases where, I don't know if you can see a good one, when you're moving on near the enemy, basically, if you're moving in straight lines, it's obviously actually happening here, because, yes, one of these units up here wants to get over here by first moving all the way down here into the middle of the enemy's formation and then across. You can see that blue line there. So we do need to add in some kind of get around to allow diagonal movement, so you don't have to move through enemy forces to make it less frustrating when you're moving near them. You could put waypoints down or only order it to move 1 bit at a time to make sure it kind of moves diagonally, but we want to try and make it easy to do. Anyway, so let's hit action. It's still going to be firing at us. What I'll do is get all my heavies here and put them onto run so they can run forward into the melee. So arrows raining down upon us. It's actually slinger fire represented by arrows. Oh, you just keep dying before they reach the melee combat. Oh, units back there is firing as well. Go on, someone make it. There we go. So melees have been started. So you can see melee combat is basically represented by the thing that's behind that button there when you press it, just showing up over the top. So not much of a representation right now. So those units are now fighting in melee, and there's basically a separate melee calculation determining how they're doing. So it looks like these 2 slinger units are about to be either destroyed or rout when I hit end turn because they have no morale. The units also have no morale. So yeah, our units destroying the enemy. Let's see how these morale modifier things are working today. This one seems adequate. What it isn't showing... Yeah, this one's okay. So this one's showing that its flanks are threatened, which is the opposite of the thing we saw earlier. So when you're in amongst enemy units, the fact that it could be flank attacked here is reducing its morale. But what it's not showing is the thing from casualties, which I feel like it was showing in the past, but never mind. Basically, as the unit takes casualties, it's losing morale, which is why they rout, of course. But that's supposed to appear in there saying like how much morale they've lost from the casualties, but for whatever reason that's not there. Possibly that unit just hasn't lost enough. Let's hit action a couple more times. Oh, so we just obliterated all those units. Let's advance again then, because now we'll fight the enemy's heavies, a fight which we will not win at this stage. So we'll be able to see the negative morale effects on our men. You can see the numbers popping up there showing the damage from the melee combat. It seems we're taking more damage than they are, for whatever reason. Possibly because we're running. I can't even remember how I did the mechanics. Yeah, we're definitely losing more than them. These are the same units, aren't they? Possibly. Oh, it might be for manpower, yes, because our units are smaller. They're doing slightly less damage to the enemies, which are bigger, but the same units. That's probably why. So what I want to see is if any of these... Oh, there we go. So this one's saying -3 morale due to heavy casualties, which I think is more than... If it goes below 75% strength, it's heavy casualties. If it's below 50%, it's extreme casualties. If it's below 10%, it's just like -1 from casualties sustained. So basically, a unit's unlikely to fight more than halfway down its strength before it routs, unless it's really elite or something. In this unit, it would be routing, but the fact that it's in formation with allies on either side is giving it +2. So that's basically countering the -3 a fair bit and meaning it's okay. This one on the edge, a bit more dodgy because it only has one flank secure. So if that unit was to just move to there, it wouldn't even have to fight it. That would rout that unit off the field. Do it. Oh, well, our units routing off there. So the heavies rushing back to our lines. Some enemy units routing and coming back there as well as they get back into formation. Oh, what is happening here? Got some combat started. This guy's then turned around to face that unit. Not sure why. Why do you attack that on the flank? There's actually no bonuses or anything in there right now for attacking on the flank, so it's just a normal combat. So that's all stuff that needs to be added in. Let's have a look back here. You can see all the units that have come back from routing gathering around the general here. These guys rushing backwards. Interestingly, here now that it's actually routing, it doesn't say that it has negative problems from casualties. I'm not sure why that is. It does still have the low morale, it's just not saying it, so who knows what that's about. Oh, the other thing to notice is that here, down in the unit bar, we can see our cards have been disappearing and the colours are changing as the battle progresses, so we're losing cards and there's actually nothing down there anymore. Keep going, keep destroying our units. Oh, that unit's taking 0 damage. Aha, because these slingers have such low missile attack, they actually can't do anything to the idiots, which have 100 armour. They are invincible. So that is perfect, and their morale is very high. So it's their base morale and then slight bonus from that. Why don't we do this? Ooh, -79 damage. Oh, this is actually gaining troops from the fight, so they're obviously doing very well. So clearly those calculations need to have some sort of check on them. When the unit's ridiculously overpowered, it doesn't take so little damage that it actually heals casualties instead. So let's see what's going on up here. Losing more units. What are these guys doing shifting around near the general? There is a thing where when a unit stops routing, when it joins a combat, it needs to find the nearest passable tile just in case it stopped routing or joined a combat whilst it was moving through an allied unit. So they shouldn't theoretically end up standing on top of each other. They've already seen that it doesn't work. But the idea is there. So if it's not doing that, that is something I would like it to do. To have these guys rush into combat. Yeah, they're just rushing on top of each other, aren't they? So clearly that doesn't work. They need to sort of bounce off and say we can't be in this combat and try and go around the edge or something. But keep going. We're losing all our men except this unit of idiots, which is tanking the slinger's ammunition. It's only got 3 shots left. Oh, the idiots is actually throwing something. It must have a throwing weapon. Yeah, it's got a 2-range weapon with 999 ammo, and it's throwing it into the back of those Crusaders, doing 6 damage every time. So clean up. Oh, it's only got 2 missile attack. That's why. And Crusaders has 4 armor. So basically it's negating all of the damage and just doing negligible damage here. Keep throwing, idiots. You'll destroy those Crusaders eventually. And what's going on over here? This unit is trying to rout, I think. Yes, oh no, it's stopped now. There we go. So this unit on the end has taken casualties, and it's worried that its left flank isn't secure, so it routes to there, goes, oh, it's fine now, tries to find the nearest passable tile to rejoin the formation, goes, oh, the nearest passable tile is where I was before, goes back, but now it's back in that dangerous position, so it wants to rout again. So they're stuck in an infinite loop. Oh, they actually went to a different point that time. Oh, so they're not routing by the same route every time. That's interesting. Just bouncing back to where they need to be. Good work, good work. This is all the sign of a great game. Oh, the idiots destroyed its target and it's now attacking this flank. So you may notice there's no AI, and that is probably something that needs to be added in, but I think we might just make things less glitchy and more working first. Probably be able to do both. I don't think it'll take too long to stop everything from glitching. Let's, as a final move for this video, deploy our shock cavalry, the retributors, to smash at a run without guard mode on, they already had it off, into the front of these units. Well, that's the point. We could see if fire at will works. So this unit's on fire at will. Let's turn off fire at will, and I'll move it to say there. Which will take 2 turns. Oh, the retributors are making their attack as well. Boom, in they go. Oh, hang on, they took 54 damage and did 0 to the enemy. Oh, there's another crazy stat setup. They have 12 attack. These guys have 3 armor, 6 attack versus their 6 armor. Basically, Retributors can't do anything with a frontal charge against heavy infantry, which is the sort of thing I'd actually like, an accidentally correct balance. I'm going to have these 3 units charge in like that as well. This actual movement and selection system is sort of growing on me. It's still kind of hard to use. Oh, and they're off. They routed. They're not staying around for this. Most of them look like they actually routed rather than shattered, so they are just going to go back and sit with the general back there. Let's see how it all shifts around. They're all just shuffling around to try and get into a formation. They're like pushing each other out of the way as well. I think some of these units might be routing even while sitting next to the general and then sort of unrouting sometimes. Yeah, they're getting pushed out of the general's aura by the reforming, routing, trying to rush back in. And that's creating this exciting, dynamic game as the units struggle to get as close to the general as they can. And if they get too far away, they decide they don't like it and start pushing into the center again. And those units are all now standing on top of each other, so obviously it doesn't even work. That's good, eh? That's good, eh? So what's the thing I was saying before that? I was going to see if fire at will works. So this unit's not on fire at will, and it's not firing, so that's good. Now we turn on fire at will, and it did fire, also firing arrows, and it's joining the idiots in attacking this unit. It even turned on its own to face it. That was very intelligent of it. So this heavy infantry is now taking heavy fire. They're actually going to rout. Oh, but they decided they were okay once they were inside the allied ranks, moved back out, and now they're probably in trouble again. Yes, they are. The idiots finished them off, and the T-34 changing targets onto that unit, which routes into a position where its flank is secure, so it's happy to sit there. It doesn't want to be in the open. Now it's taking too many losses and it's moved back. Tried to move into a space that wasn't occupied and actually moved into one that was, so now it's not going to do anything. Overall, best game of 2016? Best game of 2016. So, I can't remember if I did anything else. It was probably all that, because that was pretty hard to set up and it doesn't even work, so clearly we've still got some more stuff to do. So let's celebrate by charging everything we still have at the enemy. It's probably all just going to rout and go back, which is half of us going back because they refuse to make the charge. So we're getting some combats going here. There we go. We'll destroy the enemy's army. I'm pretty sure we are going to lose this battle, unfortunately. You win, enemy forces. You win. And thank you very much for having a watch of the Total War Devin vlog. Hope you enjoyed whatever music I chose in the background. And next time, we'll play something that's quite similar. Actually, no, it might not. What I might do is scale this back down. So, like, only have, like, 5 units on either side, so it's not absolute chaos. Get that working, and then scale it back up and see what changes we need to make it work on a slightly larger scale. And with a small number of units as well, I may even be able to add in the most basic of AIs. I think I actually did start the AI from holiday. I heard it is Battle AI Army Assessment. So here's code for the AI trying to assess, I haven't even finished it yet, trying to assess what sort of qualities the army is facing has, I should say. So it's looking over the units that it can see in the enemy's army and saying, okay, it's got this value thing where it evaluates the unit based on its quality, but combining its stats and the circumstances and stuff, and going, okay, enemy's army is this good at range, it's this good at cavalry, this good at machine. I think that's going to be war machine or siege stuff. So it's going to come up with some idea of what the overall strengths and weaknesses of its opponent is in order to decide on its meta strategy. So it might decide the range value is really high, my cavalry value is really high, we're probably going to want to rush the enemy before they set up or anything like that, so we can use that to inform what the AI is going to have to do, and then making it actually do it is going to be the hard bit. So right now it's just broad deciding on strategy sort of AI. That's the end of the video. That's the end of the video. See you at E3 2017 for the release of Total War Devin. It's going to be a tiny bit better than this. It's a tiny bit. It's going to be pretty much the same, but a tiny bit better than this. So we're basically done. We'll probably just test it for the next 9 months. Nah, actually, let's not test it. We'll probably start coming out with DLC for the next 9 months, and maybe make a DLC where instead of blue, it's yellow or something. Give that $10, $20 for yellow shapes. Let me know if you're interested in that, and I'll see you next time.